What if I told you that the next leader of America's biggest city could be a young man born in Kampala, Uganda, an immigrant whose rise is shaking up the very core of New York City politics? This is the story of Zohran Mamdani, a democratic socialist who just won the 2025 Democratic primary for New York City mayor, capturing the imagination of millions as his grassroots movement prepares to challenge the political establishment. Zohran Mamdani's journey begins in Uganda, where he was born in 1991 to Indian parents, award-winning filmmaker Mira Nair and respected political scholar Mahmood Mamdani. His father, a Ugandan-born intellectual of Indian descent, was forced into exile during Idi Amin's brutal regime that expelled Uganda's entire Indian population in 1972. This experience of displacement and resistance shaped the family's understanding of power, justice, and the fight for belonging. But here's where the story gets truly powerful. When Mahmood Mamdani named his son, he deliberately chose the middle name Kwame, not as a casual tribute, but as an intentional act of Pan-African solidarity, honoring Ghana's iconic independence leader, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. This wasn't just a name, it was a political statement. A Ugandan exile, forced from his homeland by a dictator, was ensuring his son would carry forward the legacy of Africa's greatest champion of liberation and unity. The father who had witnessed Africa's struggles was passing the torch of resistance to the next generation. At age 7, Zohran arrived in New York City, carrying with him not just his family's hopes, but the revolutionary spirit of his namesake. He attended public schools, founded his high school's first cricket team, and after college, worked as a foreclosure prevention counselor, helping low-income families avoid eviction. This hands-on experience with New Yorkers facing housing insecurity shaped his vision for an affordable city and ignited his passion for public service, a passion rooted in the Pan-African ideals his father had instilled in him. But nobody saw what was coming next. As a 3-term New York State Assembly member representing Queens, Mamdani launched his mayoral campaign in October 2024, taking on political heavyweight Andrew Cuomo. In June 2025, his victory in the Democratic primary, securing 56% of the vote through ranked choice voting, was nothing short of historic. His platform was bold: freeze rents on rent-stabilized housing, make city buses free, build 200,000 affordable housing units, and raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour by 2030. These transformative ideas, paired with plans to tax corporations and the wealthy, won over thousands who felt abandoned by traditional politics. At the heart of Mamdani's movement is people power reminiscent of the liberation movements that inspired both Nkrumah and his father's generation. His campaign mobilized an army of passionate volunteers, over 26,000 New Yorkers from all walks of life, who knocked on doors, held meetings in local parks, and brought democracy back to the grassroots. This organizing model echoes the community-based resistance movements his father studied across Africa, making politics feel real again for ordinary people, especially immigrants and working families. Mamdani also broke new ground with his digital outreach. His campaign videos, full of references to Bollywood, African history, and pop culture, spoke directly to Gen Z, South Asians, Muslims, and communities of color. This creative social media strategy drove youth turnout to record highs and helped him win overwhelming support among young voters in key neighborhoods. Of course, such a meteoric rise attracted fierce opposition. Mamdani faced Islamophobic and anti-immigrant rhetoric from national pundits, and political rivals tried to use his stances on international justice issues as wedges. But far from weakening his campaign, these attacks only strengthened his connection to Muslim, African, and South Asian communities, who saw in him a leader unafraid to stand tall for justice and representation, embodying the fearless spirit of the African independence leader whose name he proudly carries. Today, Mamdani's journey from Kampala to New York's political front lines has become a beacon for underrepresented groups across the U.S. and beyond. His story is inspiring a new generation of immigrants, Africans, and Muslims to get involved, to vote, and even to run for office. As he prepares for the November general election against incumbent Eric Adams, Republican Curtis Sliwa, and independent Andrew Cuomo, Mamdani's candidacy has already changed what's possible in American politics. His victory represents more than just local politics. It's the fulfillment of his father's vision when he chose that powerful middle name. From Nkrumah's Ghana to Amin's Uganda to the streets of New York, the dream of African liberation has traveled across continents and generations. The son of Uganda, named for Ghana's greatest leader, is now positioned to lead America's greatest city, proving that the pan-African spirit of resistance and transformation knows no borders. So what do you think? Can immigrant leaders like Mamdani truly reshape the future of America's greatest cities? And what does this mean for the global legacy of African liberation movements? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how African political consciousness spans generations and continents, hit subscribe for more stories that dig beneath the headlines. And if you want to catch up on weekend political news, there's a link to the African Reset blog in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time on the African Reset.